Hey there, guys. It's Catherine at happywithbaby.com, and I'm so excited because I am doing part two conversation with Quentin Hafner, a therapist and relationship coach, and hopefully he will be joining us shortly. We had a great conversation on Wednesday, and he's really shared some great insights and great perspectives coming from a dad's perspective, also a male perspective that sometimes I think we don't hear enough about. So I was really excited to be talking with him, and his phone died while we were on the call. And we talked about, oh, you could email them to me because I'm going to be putting this together and posting it on my website. And then he's like, well, what if we do another one? So I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. So here we are on Friday. What day is it? Not sure. I don't see him yet. So I'll just kind of keep chatting and hope he's able to join us. Yeah, maybe. Oh, there you are. Okay, perfect. I'm adding you now.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Yeah, I'm glad we were able to do part two.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is a little deja vu. It's great.
Right, I'm
Yeah.
just in a different location. I'm at home today, so hopefully
Okay,
my
awesome.
my
Yeah.
daughter's in the background, so we'll see if we end up with a guest. I'm
Okay.
hoping not.
I
She's
hope
all
she
set
I
up.
hope she comes in. I hope she interrupts you.
She's good at that. So, yeah. So, perfect. So, did you have
Yeah.
any thoughts or anything you wanted to say before I jump back in with more of my questions or?
Um, I guess no, I was really thinking about our conversation last time, and it was just great to talk with you and just, hear your thoughts and perspective on things. And um I feel like I get to have these conversations with clients a lot, but not other
Yeah.
people like you, so it's fun to talk about it.
Well, and it's kind of great because I was working on Wednesday and I had a few sessions after our conversation, and I
Mm-hmm.
was able to use some of the things we said
Oh,
or
cool.
that you had
Yeah.
said, and I'm like, oh, this is why I need to do this more often because I think
Yeah.
like you know how you get used to the way you say things and the
Yeah.
information you put out there, and then it's nice
Mm-hmm.
sometimes somebody says something you're like, oh yeah, that's a good way to
Yeah.
say it, or that's a
Yeah.
that's a good perspective to have. So I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's important, and I like that you're able to lend that male perspective too. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Cool. Yeah.
yeah. So I had started to ask you when your phone
It's
died,
okay.
like, what was the greatest lesson you've learned as a dad? And then
Oh,
you said,
I'm very sorry that my phone died. That was like really embarrassing.
I love that
It
that's
was,
life, right? Though.
well, it's like on Facebook on this, I can't see the battery power.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I was just doing our thing and then it just went black. And I was like, uh-oh, that's not good. So,
It's like welcome to parenthood.
I know, I know. I'm like, okay, that's like not very professional then. I didn't have my phone full charge.
Oh well. Oh
Yeah.
well.
Thank you. Thanks for
This
being
makes it more fun
gracious.
because then we can do part
Yeah.
two.
Right, right, right. Okay, so I'm sorry, will you say what were you gonna
Yeah.
or what were you
What
asking?
What is the greatest lesson you've learned as a dad?
Hmm. Oh gosh, there's like so many I think to
Yeah.
choose from. Um, I think that what I keep coming back to, for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
is the need to just kind of slow down.
Mm. Yeah.
And like I have kind of the personality where I can kind of like move at like warp speed, and and sometimes I really just forget that my kids don't really move that fast.
Right.
And um, my oldest son, Levi, he's 5 now, and he's at this stage where he's just really wanting more of my time. He's wanting just more of my presence, more of my mind, and
Mm.
I'm really having to just like be super mindful of that. And
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, because I'm kind of like in that stage of where I'm kind of becoming more aware of these like precious moments kind of slipping by,
Yeah. Yeah.
and and so I just keep coming back to the need to kind of like slow down, like to be more present, to be like less irritated, when he wants to like be with me,
Yeah.
because,
Yeah. Because you
like
have other
it's
things
just,
to do. Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, it's horrible, but like
Yeah.
sometimes that's just the way it is, and it's not really what I want to do. But then I'm like, oh gosh, like there's going to be a point in time really soon where I can't go back. I can't go back and
Yeah.
redo all this. And it's kind of like one of those like, nobody's ever going to say on their deathbed that they regretted spending too much time with their children,
Right.
but they do regret working too much and,
Yeah.
not doing that. And um, so I just think slow down. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about for you? What comes to your mind for that?
Well, I can relate to that a lot. Like
Yeah.
my youngest just turned 5, and
Mm-hmm.
so today is our last Friday. So I'm doing this. So we just spent all morning together. It was super fun. It's our last Friday
Yeah.
before my son gets out of school, and then she'll be in kindergarten
Yeah.
next year. So
Mm.
we really had a great morning and
Mm-hmm.
making that time. And she's like, "Mom, you're lots of fun." And then she
Yeah.
also told me I know a lot of stuff. So that felt really
Okay.
good. And
That's
I feel
good.
like I have
Yeah.
to record her saying that. So like in 5 years from
Yeah.
now, when I know nothing, I'll be
Mm-hmm.
like, you used to think I knew a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's slowing down and I think that being present piece, because it's so easy to be distracted by all the other things that we have to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like they don't really need a lot of our time. They don't need us to
Yeah.
have hours of
Yeah.
undivided attention. They
Right.
need like shorter periods of
Mm-hmm.
undivided attention where we're not distracted by our phones or work or doing chores around the house or whatever it
Yeah.
is. And
Right.
so
Right.
I think that's a really I can totally relate to that one a lot.
Yeah. No, I'm really glad that you said that too about the time, like the quantity of time, because
Yeah.
sometimes it's easy to feel kind of burdened if that's the
Mhm.
idea in your mind,
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, like I can't give up a whole half day or something.
Right.
And like it's so true though. It's like I think like a very intentional um, 10 minutes
Mhm.
is better than a distracted half of a day.
Right. Right.
And I don't know if you kind of like tell couples that too, but
Yeah.
I often tell couples that too, because sometimes like, especially with like, babies,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, we can't go on date nights and stuff. I'm like, you don't even need to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, if you can do that, that's awesome. But like,
Right.
you can, it's not really a quantity issue, because sometimes
Mhm.
like with young kids, like you just can't do that. So
Yeah.
you can find like 10 minutes and and just really have like a quality moment, and that is very
Yeah.
like life-giving, and it's very sustaining to the relationship. And so I think it's the same principle with like couples and kids.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I think we don't have to. I think it's like I think I said the other day, like turning off our phones, like taking away all the extraneous stimuli and being like with
Yeah.
that person and having a
Yeah.
conversation and being with them. And I'll tell parents, like, especially like that after, when you're coming home from work and that can be kind of crazy and chaotic and there's all these things to do. I'm like, and the kids want your attention, all this. I'm like, if you can
Yeah.
stop for that, maybe even just 5 to 10 minutes and get down to their
Mm-hmm.
level and do what they're doing and let them know, like, okay, then this is what we have to do. We have to get ready for dinner. We have to
Yeah.
do this, but you can give them that attention for those few minutes. Like that can
Yeah.
really take buy you a lot of time, you
Yeah.
know,
Right. They'll leave you
to do
alone.
the other stuff. Yeah, because then they're like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I got to meet you. And so, I mean, sometimes it works really well. Other times, depending on the situation, maybe it doesn't work as well. But I
Yeah.
think it's like giving them that attention and focus on them. So,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
yeah,
that's really great. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, so my other question is, what's one piece of advice you'd like to give other dads? Or if there's one.
Yeah. Um, one piece of advice to give other dads. Gosh. Okay, so I'll just kind of go with like what comes to my mind. So
Yeah.
I think that I, I, the way I kind of want to answer that is like I feel like the best gift that we could give our kids is to
Mm-hmm.
have a really stable relationship
Mm.
with their mom.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're married, that applies if you're married or if you're divorced. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like, um, so often I think that the relationships that we have with our partner can frustrate us to the point where it starts to kind of impact the
Mm.
relationship that we have with our kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, um, I don't know. I kind of feel like people need to be reminded of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That it's kind of like, if if you don't if you don't care enough about your partner to learn how to communicate well, then just do it for your kids, because
Yeah.
they're the real beneficiaries anyway.
Right. Right.
And it's not like a guilt and shame thing, but it's like, if you really love your kids, you want to do that, because
Yeah.
it really matters. And
Yeah.
so, it's like, and it doesn't matter if you're married or if you're divorced, because I think it could
Mm-hmm.
happen,
Yeah.
it's applicable to both scenarios.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's great. What, like, so what would you say to a couple that's like really struggling to communicate? I mean, because that's usually for me, I don't know about for you, but when couples come
Yeah.
into me, that's usually the thing they say. We don't communicate, which then,
Yeah.
means a lot of different things and looks
Sure. Yeah.
different. But is there like where do you start with that? Like if a couple says to you, I'm really struggling with communicating, or my wife never listens to me, or I
Yeah.
never listen to my wife. I don't know, do they say that? But
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
usually we like to blame the other person.
of course. Of course.
We
Yeah.
all
It's like
do, but yeah.
yeah. It kind of, it's a little bit of kind of what we were saying when we were talking the other day. I think about, like, what the way I like to do that stuff is
Mm-hmm.
to kind of, like, from like the EFT perspective, is
Yeah.
really just like helping people communicate their, like, primary emotions,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about that I think a lot of people may not know, is that, like, it's so learnable. It's
Yeah.
like, it's so learnable, it's so fixable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes maybe people feel like, oh, like, I just don't know how to do that. Maybe other people are born with good genes and they know how to
Yeah.
do that. And it's like,
Or they
no,
had
that
good
is like,
examples of how to do it.
yeah.
So
But even if
yeah.
you had bad examples, you could totally relearn that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, like, some really great things. So, I like to just tell people that it really matters. And it's not, it's something that is kind of solvable. And
Mm-hmm.
you can really learn. It's like a very learnable skill to learn how to communicate well.
Right.
And even if your partner isn't willing, I think it's important to remember too that you can change
Yes.
the whole thing by just doing it well yourself, because
Yeah, that's a good point. Right.
your action is going to have a positive. It's going to likely create a positive
Mm-hmm.
reaction. It's kind of like the chain of events kind of thing. So a
Right.
lot of people get stuck in that. Well, my partner's not doing it, so I'm not going to do it. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's not the right way to look at it, because just one person doing it well could really be transformative.
Yeah. 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 That's a really
So
good point. I like that.
yeah, what's your advice for moms?
Well, usually the pretty similar to exactly what
Yeah.
you
Okay.
just said. Like
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I say
Yeah.
that to people, because I see, that moms come in themselves, and I do have dads that
Yeah.
come in, and I'll say, like, if you start doing it differently, they're gonna react differently to the way
Yeah.
you do it. So
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, I think it's part of it's
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna do it because I want I want to have a better relationship, better
Yeah.
communication. I think it's frustrating and it's hard when you feel like the other person isn't trying. But
Yeah. Yes. Totally. Totally.
so okay, so then I
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, of course, it's like so frustrating when the other person isn't trying. And then there's this other aspect too, where I think we just want to, like, feel good. We want to, like, lay our head
Mm-hmm.
on a pillow at night and just feel good that we tried and we did everything
Mm-hmm.
we could do. Because there's something really satisfying about that too.
Yeah.
Even if someone else isn't as willing or open to the idea,
Mm-hmm.
we just always feel better knowing that we did what we could. So
Right. Right.
yeah.
Right. And sometimes I'll encourage them, like, try to understand, like, where are they coming from, like, ask some questions to see what's happening to them, that if they are really upset, or that they're
Yeah.
responding a certain way, because
Yeah.
usually there's like more underlying too, like, and if we can kind of understand our partner's perspective, sometimes it makes it easier to keep trying and doing what we have to do. And I don't know if you can, they're doing yard work like right outside my window. I don't know if you can
I can't
hear
hear
that.
it. No, I
Oh,
can't
okay,
hear it. It's
good. Oh,
good. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
um, so,
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point, and I think I'm sure you've had this experience working with couples. Is that like if you start understanding how people feel, you're like, wow, like you guys actually feel the same thing,
yes.
like at the end of the day, like you're both feeling these basically same feelings,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that's kind of usually how it always is,
Right.
and like so it's like okay, whatever it is that you're feeling, you can almost guarantee that your partner's kind of feeling something close
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
Because it's usually not really ever one-sided,
Right.
and I guess that's nice to know because hopefully we can have empathy or something like that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, that's weird.
Is your daughter coming in?
Hold on one second.
Sure, 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 sure.
Oh, th- thank you. There. I was like, what happened?
She's
I didn't hear you. Did someone deliver a package and she went out to get
mm,
it?
that's awesome.
Yes. Okay. Home life.
Facebook
Just
Live. Yeah, this
yes,
is
right. A
live.
little
Yeah.
little glimpse into. She's very independent and likes to do things on her own. So,
Yeah.
okay. So here's a question that I have. What would
Okay.
you tell other moms, or what would you like all moms to know about dads?
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So,
That's a big one, I
um,
think.
yeah. Well, I'm going to be kind of like a defender of dads for a second
Yes, that's what I
because
want.
yeah, I feel like dads get like a really bad rap.
Hmm.
And I feel like the media has done like such a horrible job, like in general, kind of making kind of a satire of dads and husbands.
Hmm.
And I think that there's like a, there's like this like cultural feeling that is kind of like floating around somewhere that, dads are incompetent
Mm.
and inept and deficient.
Hmm.
And I just feel like things couldn't be further from the truth.
Hmm.
And I think it makes for like good TV sitcoms, but I think in reality it kind of paints a picture of men as being these like just incompetent people that um, I think is really starting to kind of like erode the self-esteem of like the collective group of men.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so I guess what I would want moms to like maybe reconsider or just
Hmm.
reevaluate is if they might even be if they might have some of those ideas in
Mm.
their minds too,
Hmm.
and to really challenge themselves and to really maybe question some of their own beliefs and paradigms about what they think about their husband and maybe how some of these things in media
Hmm.
kind of support that inaccurately or even unfairly. Um,
Yeah.
so, I mean, I feel like the guys that I work with, and I can say the same thing about women too, I
Hmm.
feel like, most people are, really want to do a good job,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
their hearts are really in good places and they want to do it well and they're doing their best. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not good, but their motivation and their intentions are really good. And, you know, so, um, I just feel like guys get an unfair bad rap,
Hmm.
and I think sometimes moms are not they're not immune to kind of like falling into that thought
Hmm.
process.
Hmm.
And so just kind of like just challenging their own paradigms of how they think about that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
does
and
that make sense? Like what I'm saying? Do
yeah,
you kind of see that a little bit?
I do. And I often tell moms, like, let dad figure it out. Like, there's a learning curve for each of us. And so if he's doing something, let him do it and let him figure it out. And it's probably
Uh-huh.
not going to be the way you're doing it. And that's
Yeah.
perfectly okay. Like, it shouldn't be
Yeah.
the way you're doing it. Let him,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
but if you're always correcting or telling him or micromanaging him, like, he's going to stop doing this stuff. And then you're
Yeah.
not going to have that partner and you're going to get more resentful. So let him figure it
Yeah.
out. I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
good to talk about, like, hey, I tried this and this seems to help, unless there's like harm being done, which typically there's not, then
Yeah.
there's really no reason
Mhm.
to tell them how to do it. But the
Yeah.
other thing, and I hear this from mom too, so I kind of, and I'm not feeling I have to defend moms from what you're saying,
Yeah.
because I do
Yeah.
see that, and I
Mm-hmm.
know not all moms do that, but also the frustrating for moms is like, well, dad can do anything and he gets all this praise and glory, for
Yeah.
like,
For babysitting.
for babysitting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
what do you say to that? Because I see that could be really
Yeah.
frustrating.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, I think it's kind of similar. I think it's kind of a little bit of the opposite thing. I think that there are, like, I think where there's some cultural things that I think we have to fight
Mm-hmm.
against, and I think it's
Yeah.
on both sides of the equation.
Yes. Yes.
Because I don't want dads to get praise for babysitting. That's like
Right.
insane.
Yes.
But you hear that a lot,
Yeah.
and like I think you hear that from like maybe the other generations more,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. So maybe that's like really the big takeaway for
Yeah.
just like to think about it as like there's a I think there's a lot that we get kind of influenced by,
Mm-hmm.
culturally, that I think we just have to be like mindful of and just kind of question and analyze and just you know
Mm-hmm.
that's
It's
awesome.
clearly gone on too long for
What
her.
is she saying? Is
She's really
she's
this
upset that you're doing this?
no, this package is really important. She's like, well, what name does
Oh,
this have on it? I think
yeah,
she's
yeah,
hoping it has her name on
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's a like early
Okay.
birthday present.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
will talk about that later. Yeah, like, we're already talking about an early birthday present. Hers is in
yeah,
April, so
yeah. Priorities. Yeah.
priorities. Yes,
Uh-huh.
exactly. Yeah, no, I think that's I think that's true, and I think that's another reason why we have to keep communicating with our partners about what's happening, how are we feeling, each of us feeling about things, so that we're staying like on the
Mm-hmm.
same page, and that we
Yeah.
have like our expectations, are the other person knows. We can't be
Mm-hmm.
disappointed when they're not met, like, and not like
Yeah.
they're always going to be met, but that we can keep
Mm-hmm.
talking about that.
Yeah. For sure. And just like making space for that. That is like such an important thing.
Hmm.
Without that, it's like it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, but I like that pizza that you said, that pizza piece that you said about it can be short times, right? It can be
Yeah.
10 minutes
Mm-hmm.
that you're spending with your partner if you can't get those date nights in. Or I'll tell
Yeah.
people, like, wait, if they're napping or they're in the other room playing, like, sit down and have a talk with your partner,
Yeah.
like check in with each other. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be a big extravagant thing. I mean, those are
Yeah.
nice too, and I highly
Yeah.
encourage them. But
Yeah.
until you're able to do that, like, find the, uninterrupted moments that you can get in there.
Yes. Yes. Because that, if you can just do a bunch of that, like you're
Yeah.
going to be golden.
Yeah. Because that adds up over time.
It really does. And often it's just enough. You know what I mean? It's like getting
Mm-hmm.
a snack, I guess, I think I'm hungry. That's why I'm thinking of that. It's like having a snack instead of like a
Yeah.
full meal. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's satisfying. I'm good.
Yeah. 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 That'll tide
It's,
me over for a little while, and then
yeah,
I'll need another snack, but
yeah,
at least
right.
for a while. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to take up much more of your time, but is there like anything else like you want to end on, or any thoughts or anything? I've really enjoyed having this conversation because I think,
Yeah.
I think it's a good reminder of how, because I feel like we have very similar thoughts and perspectives, but then they're also
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
And I think
Totally.
it goes, men and women, and we struggle with the same things as parents. It might
Yeah.
look a little different, or we might say it a little bit different, but
Yeah.
it's the same stuff.
No, it's really great to talk to you about this stuff because it's like I really do like hearing your perspective, and um, yeah, it's just kind of nice to get out of like my own thoughts about, because I
Yes.
kind of just, it's like I have the
Yeah.
same kind of thoughts, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, oh, there's a different thought. That's really great. So
Yeah.
I have a book coming out. Can I plug this book real quick?
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
So I wrote a book, and it's in editing kind of right now. So
Awesome.
it's supposed to be in print in September. It's called Blackbelt Husband, and it's a marriage book specifically just for guys. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I'm really excited about that, and I'll keep you posted on that as things kind of
Yeah. Well,
move forward.
I remember I started saying this when we started talking on Wednesday before you came on about how, you have your blue belt in
Yeah,
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
exactly.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So the book, basically, the idea of the book was like kind of like using jujitsu as like a metaphor for marriage.
Okay.
So I kind of compare the two, and
I like that. That's
yeah,
good.
it was fun for me to write it. So it was really great. So I'm excited to see it come out.
Well, that's good. That's good. I bet it's gonna be
Yeah.
great. I can't wait to check it out. So
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
we'll definitely put a plug into that. And like I said, so we'll edit this on my website, and then I always do a transcript because I feel like I have those parents that don't have time to listen to a video. So if you can read through it,
yeah, that's cool.
and so we'll have that, and so we'll have links to that, all that for you on there too. So
Awesome.
yeah. So,
Well, it's super fun to chat with you.
well, it was fun chatting with you too. Thanks for
Yeah,
taking the time.
I'm glad this worked out for round 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Me too. She's
Okay,
waving too.
you get. Oh, hi. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, have a great weekend.
You
and
too.
We'll,
You too.
We'll catch up soon.
Okay. You too. Bye.
Okay.
Bye,
All right,
everybody.
Catherine. Okay,
Thanks.
see ya.